Oh my goodness gracious, we are back. We're not dead, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with my good pal Klaesick. How you doing, my friend?
I have been doing quite well so far. I've just been kind of existing. How have you been?
I've been, absolutely fantastic. As Getty Lee would say, existence exists. And I am so excited, and I'll tell you why, because this is my number one favorite WOD of all time. I love this WOD. I love everything about it. I love the goofy beach atmosphere. Look at that imp up in the top left. He's doing a sachet. He's like I'm waggling my butt.
It has a
But
very build engine feel for some reason. Like this is the type of thing I'd see in like a Duke Nukem like add-on pack or something, and I love it.
yeah, but I played this about a year and a half ago for the first time, and it's just it's just the combat is so fresh throughout, but it's not too hard, which I love too, because it's us. And it's just warm and sunny, and the music is all so nice. It's also like a lot of the maps are big and open and explory, which is a lot of fun. So you can't go wrong with Doom Kid. In short, he's probably my favorite Doom
He's a
mod creator.
he's a very chill man.
He
I don't
is.
think he did though. I think he lied about that one.
Well, he was a kid when he started, way back in the late 90s or early 2000s with map creation and dooming, but he is no longer a kid, for sure. I think he's actually slightly older than I am.
He
But
is certainly a Doom man.
yes, I'm a mega man now. Um, but have you ever
He's a big kid now.
have you ever seen the terminal montage videos by any chance?
I have not, no.
It's what that was a reference to. But anyway, so anyway, yeah, I think it's kind of a running joke in our channel that we have long hiatuses, but this one's been particularly long, so sorry about that.
Yeah, we've both been getting a bit more busy as of late, so.
Yeah, this it's probably obvious for neither of us. YouTube is our full-time thing. I've got a full-time job as an engineer, and so it keeps me very very busy much of the time. And I was also
Whereas I'm going into my final year of high school, so.
going into the process of starting adult life and figuring everything out, which is stressful in and of itself. So,
Now pay your
um,
taxes.
yeah, welcome to adulthood. It's not as bad as people say, but it is. There's a lot to deal
I
with.
I am annoyed that I have to get insurance, aka the biggest scam ever.
Insurance is a big scam.
We pay you pay us to steal your money,
Insurance is a big scam, as is not taxes
and it's a
themselves,
legally required one.
and also like paying taxes isn't a scam, but the American way of like working taxes is just so stupid. Like in other countries, they're just like, hey, this is how much money you owe. We're gonna deduct it from your salary. In America, it's like you have to guess how much money you owe us, and if you get it wrong, you're going to jail. Fortunately, it's not that hard, but it is definitely like it's surprisingly easy to accidentally to commit
Even
tax fraud, so you have to be really careful.
the funny thing, both Ronald Reagan and Obama agreed on return-free filing for taxes.
Yeah, probably one of the few things. Well, actually, Obama was a pretty dead center politician, all things considered, even though he marketed
Yeah.
himself as a progressive. So I wouldn't be at all surprised about that, even though I'm sure there were many things they didn't disagree on.
They we must get the paperwork out of the way.
Yes, of course. Um, so taxes are no fun. Um, Paying bills is no fun. College is hard if you decide to go that route. But having independence is pretty great, and if you can hack it, it's actually not the worst thing in the world. So,
It's kind of weird for me because I'm not necessarily used to being independent,
oh, sure.
especially with my parents. You know, they've kind of like in a way. I don't feel as prepared as I feel like I kind of should be in a way. Like, especially with school, they're kind of like always there in a way, like kind of helping me out, doing some of the work for me,
Well,
which I appreciate, but it's like, at the same time, I feel like, they aren't going to hold my hand forever, so I have to get what independence I can here, so at least I feel more ready.
we just had a game crash. Whoops.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Okay, I'm gonna speed run this shit. Hang tight. I'll just get it queued back up again. Yeah. This happens sometimes when you have stuff with .deh files. God damn it. All right.
But yeah, with that in mind, I guess my plan is for the next few years is once I finish high school, hopefully May, but because it's college algebra, I might have to retake it a few times, which stinks, but after that, I'll probably take like a complete year off of any sort of schooling, just so I can get my mental health more on track and stuff. Maybe get like a low-level job for a few months, like at a Target or King Supers or something.
I think that's smart. I wish I'd taken a gap year between high school and college to kind of figure myself out and get ready for it. I feel like it would have done me a lot of good.
Yeah,
so.
because high school is like right now, at least to me, because the subjects, it's kind of stressful. So I'd rather, like, once it's done, it's like, okay, I can alleviate myself of that, at least for a while.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then when I feel more ready, I can come back. And I want to do trade school.
Right on.
So instead of college.
That's really smart. Like, I knew a lot of people in college who kind of went in with not much of a plan, not really knowing what they wanted to do or why. And the system's kind of rigged against that, even though it encourages everyone to go to college. I was really lucky in that I knew exactly what I wanted to do and was able to kind of plan around that ever since high school. But if you really don't, you kind of just want to get a job to get by, then trade school is the way to go. So don't feel pressure to go to college at all.
Yeah. I feel like, especially since I'll get a college degree from the high school I went to, because I have college classes. Even with that, I have 2 less years of college, which would be helpful if I went.
Yeah. Dude, you're gonna be totally fine. I actually think you're a lot better prepared than you say you are. My parents, I think it's a millennial / Gen Z thing. My parents were very like keen on like helping me out when I was in high school and making sure I had the best start. And there's positives and negatives associated with that, but I turned out okay, and I ended up doing all right for myself. And I think we're from similar we have similar backgrounds in economic strata and so forth.
Yeah,
so
we're both white middle class dudes, so
you're gonna be a-okay. Like, it's gonna be hard, but you're gonna be a-okay, I promise you.
Yeah.
Just don't confuse temporary hard times with ultimate failure. Just keep doing what you do and work hard, and you're gonna be just fine, I promise you.
Oh yeah.
I need some more shells, but I don't have them. Oh well. So
There aren't any turtles here, so I doubt it.
there's what?
There's no turtles here though. So.
Wah wah. That was a good one. That actually, I'm gonna applaud that.
I've been chatting with somebody who's a shit poster through D&D, so I must have picked up a thing or two from him in the past month.
There is. I love shit posting. It's an art form. Don't at me. It's amazing.
It's kind of funny because in some of the conversations I have, I know this person, really good friend, but he's like allergic to like quote unquote cringe. So it's just like in a way a mood killer. Fun, of course, because he's my friend, but I just think it's funny. Like,
oh,
he's like,
sure.
That's so cringe, and I'm just like, maybe I'll keep doing it.
I'll be real. When you said poggers in chat earlier today, I was like, oh, don't say that. But that's partially a joke. You can say whatever you like.
Yeah, it's like I learned as I grew up. I like being stupid in a way.
It's fun to be stupid in a way that like makes people angry every now and then. It's a good time.
Or at least treating yourself as a joke.
Oh yeah, of course. Now check this out. I'm gonna grab invulnerability and berserk, and this is just like Anakin Skywalker once said, this is where the fun begins. Because this
From
berserk.
my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Then you are lost. So many memes from the prequels. I love it.
I watched like a dub of that scene of Revenge of the Sith made by Nerdist, where it's like the voice actor of Chris Gershon.
Oh yeah.
Anakin. It was so funny.
Oh, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Well then, Chris, you are lost. Holy crap, Lois! Our son Chris is lost. We must destroy him.
This is just as bad as the time as when Chris was Anakin, Revenge of the Sith.
Peter, you have to kill Chris, Peter. Oh.
Family Guy is such an anomaly because everybody simultaneously hates it to pieces and loves it.
It's such a cultural meme, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's become one of those things where it's like, it's kind of like The Simpsons. It's been devoid of creativity for the past decade, probably, but it's kind of wrapped around to where that's kind of become the joke in and of itself. So
yeah,
I don't know. Although I have heard that The Simpsons has recently gotten good again. Super Eye Patch Wolf made a pretty good video about that a few months ago anyway.
That's surprising considering who owns it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched any of the new seasons, and I was never big into The Simpsons, even the old seasons when I was a younger man, or even now, so I'm not super familiar, but if it's getting good, I mean, that's fantastic. I certainly won't complain. But I don't know, in college and in high school I was into other animated media, so I won't complain.
Well, at least Disney took one L on the fact they don't own Steamboat Will anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right, they don't. That's funny. I would have
tried so hard to like lock it up permanently. Only took like 95 years.
You know, they have a similar issue with, honestly, a lot of properties where they have to extend the copyright law to retain Mickey Mouse and other things, but whenever they extend the copyright law, it applies to everything. So there are some properties that they've been wanting to like get a hold of for decades, but because of their own law changes in place to protect their assets, they can't get those properties, and so it's kind of a double-edged sword for them in a way.
What sucks is like I feel like there's some merit to copyright law in a way.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like I remember I talked to this person in a few leftist spaces as, and it's like copyright law should be a thing. It's like, well, I get where you're coming from. Like, free fan works you should always allow, but like if it's for profit, then like I feel like you should wait until like at least like, I don't know, like 20 years, or like when it's had its heyday pretty much. Like a generation or something has passed. Like the people who enjoyed it when they were kids, for example, like they're adults now. That's when you give it to them. It's like, hey, you can do what you want now.
Yeah,
I also feel like it's incredibly stupid of Disney that each individual version of Mickey Mouse is copyrighted. It's only the Steamboat Willie version. It's not anything like, besides I think Plain Crazy, like after that, which is like ludicrous, like, you know.
Well,
like, oh yeah, Red Pants is still copyrighted, so.
I mean, I think it's actually very smart, but it is devious for sure. That they've done it that way. I mean, it's precisely to ensure that they always have control over something. Oh, I died. Oh, I was so close to the end. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna kill. You know what? Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do a new game, and I'm gonna do IDKFA, and I'm gonna just fucking BFG everything. Well, that was great.
No, it's almost as bad as the time as when we cheer at Doom live on television.
Pretty soon, that will be another thing with our channel, is just cheating to get through levels, but I don't care. The BFG in this game is, in this mod, is like amazing.
Hashtag cancel vibes point overflow.
We have 35 subscribers. I think if we get canceled, it's not gonna matter as much. It's okay.
Yeah.
IDKFA. And then it's IDDQD is the invincibility one, right?
It was IDDQD, I think. That's invincibility.
IDDQD.
The only thing I hope people don't discover is me back in middle school. I did not like me in middle school.
Dude, nobody likes themselves in middle school. It's, I think,
Especially since it was during the pandemic.
James from the Odd Ones Out, if you know that channel, once said, no one is cool in middle school. Everyone is embarrassed by who they were in middle school. So don't feel bad for feeling like you were a loser in middle school, because you were. Everyone is. It's okay. So
that makes you feel better.
No, it's true. I mean, whenever I think about myself in middle school, I'm like, God, I was a cringy little fuck.
I'm like less embarrassed by me in elementary school. It's just middle school I look back on.
Well, the thing is, when you're in middle school, you're desperately trying to be cool. And there's nothing less cool than trying to be cool. And you're also trying to be cool before you even know what cool is. And cool is not trying. And kind of knowing who you are too, I'd say that's part of it as well, is having confidence in who you are and being able to do the things that you want to do, I guess, with confidence. And like, being cool is realizing that being cool is overrated, if that makes sense, and just kind of doing your own thing. Oh, I love the flamethrower.
I feel like, especially like looking back, there's a great friend in real life, by the way, who says like, you know, I enjoyed all your like nerdy stuff in middle school, like hanging out, which I thought was pretty nice. I feel like the main thing I hated about middle school me was I was way too political back then. And not in a smart way. Definitely not in a smart way. So.
I mean, everyone. Oh, the exit's right here. Okay.
Which is actually kind of, you know what's funny? Looking back, it's simultaneously like, I became leftist because there was a friend who was a leftist.
Yeah.
And ironically, that friend is, I think he's libertarian now.
What the fuck?
Oh, wow.
That's kind of a big change.
It's a big switch.
All right. Hang on. I've got a parody Mount Pain right here. I'm sorry, Valiant Super Chain Gun, but I've got a new best friend, and his name is the Blaster. This son of a bitch can crank out flak at 20 pounds per minute and can annihilate even arch files with ease. It's a goddamn Spartan of a gun. Sorry. I had to say that. I love that part in the review. It makes me so happy. It really is.
Mount Pain is kind of a meme of itself.
I love it. I love Mount Pain. His voice is really fun to do, which I think is why I like, part of why we like parodying him so much.
It kind of feels like the actually people, but not in a cringy way, in a sense. It sounds like almost, not to like, you know, but it sounds like a person who's trying to be smart actually is ended up being smart in a way.
Well,
so,
he actually is smart though. I mean, if not smart, he is.
That's what he sounds like.
If not smart, he's a very, very good writer. And I think that's intelligence.
He's good with wordplay.
That's for sure.
That's why I like it. I'm not saying this as an actual person, but I just like the idea. It's like, he almost sounds like, you know, somebody who's like pretending to be smart, actually being smart in a sense.
Well, I think he's.
It's weird to explain.
He's a genuine.
It's fun.
Well, he's someone who I think is comfortable in his own opinion and doesn't really care what people think. And I think he is kind of an intellectual type. So I don't think he's being pretentious at all. I think he's just himself. And,
Exactly. It's like it's somebody who seems quote unquote pretentious when they're actually not. In a
no,
sense. That's why I like him.
he's the kind of person that pretentious people try to imitate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's
I don't know why, but I always feel like ever since I watched Mount Pain, he seems like Ben Shapiro is essentially beta Mount Pain. And that's what I like to call him now.
he's what he is the genuine article. He's a classy, well-spoken, smart writer who really genuinely cares about Doom and doesn't seem to be doing it for clout or people's opinions. He's just, and I think that shows in like the WODs he reviews. Like, he doesn't review the most popular stuff all the time. He reviews stuff that he wants to cover, and I think that's really cool.
Especially with like Lost Civilization, you know, that was barely like unknown before he got into it.
Well, and that's become a lot of people's favorite WOD. I think because of that video. I don't much care for it myself. It's a little too wide open and a little too bloated for my liking, but it is undeniably a monumental achievement in Doom mapping, and I don't think it would receive quite the love that it receives now without his video.
I really loved Hellground because of his video. Like, I got into Hellground and I found out I loved it a lot.
Well, in Epic 2, I think from the same author, Eternal, I've been loving our playthrough with that, and that's the kind of WOD that I think that might make my top 10 list once we're done with it, just because it's so atmospheric and so immersive, especially for what it is. Yeah, I would not have known about that. It would not have even been on my radar without his video. It would have been one of those WODs where I like look at pictures on Doom World and I'm like, maybe someday, and then don't even look at it.
Forget about it.
Another example of that is Machete. I've yet to finish Machete, but Machete is just so good. A2 Rob is like an amazing mapper, and I've recently been working my way through Running Late 2, and you and I were talking before about how I'm kind of losing, for both of us, I think we're losing interest in playing new WODs, at least all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we still enjoy it, but the itch to do it isn't there as strong as it was before. I'll be real, Running Late 2 is kind of scratching that itch a little bit. Like, it's, it feels like playing Valiant or Vanguard or, Ancient Aliens, like any of the good skill saw WODs for the first time. And the visuals aren't too flashy.
The newest thing I've been into was Ashes Afterglow.
That's a good
one. I had it downloaded for a long time. I just didn't like properly get through it, and I still am. But you know, it's like I'm comfortable with the WODs I have in a way. Like, I'm still willing to check out new stuff, but I don't go out of my way in a sense.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's what this channel is for, though. We can use this as basically an excuse to check out new stuff.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, a lot of the stuff we played, this is, like I mentioned when we started the video, this is my favorite WOD of all time. So this is something I'm very familiar with. Even though I've only played it, I think, twice, but I mean, it's one of those things where I just kind of know it's amazing. But yeah, it's nice to like play Epic 2, and then what else have we been playing recently? What did we play before Epic 2? I'm kind of forgetting.
We played a bit of Super Nintendo games, I think.
We
did Super Metroid for a bit. We did. We still have to get through Plumber for All Seasons.
Oh, that's a good one.
You did Epic 2. We did Tangerine Nightmare. We only did a bit. The first level of BTSX episode 1.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and we did Psych 2. So.
Oh yeah, the first like 20 maps in like 2 really long videos.
We really do not like the later half of Psych.
God, this is why I love this WAD so much. Like, I just saw an arch file, and not even a problem. Like, just hold down the fire button on the shotgun, and he's like not even a threat. It's amazing.
I feel like one of the reasons Doom gets a lot of hard like wads, because we were talking about this a bit earlier when before the recording, because we were talking about Cultic. Doom is fairly simple. Like you can kind of turn your brain off to it, and from what I get, especially with a lot of harder maps, some people may not like that or get like bored of just no. I don't want to turn my brain off anymore. I want a challenge or something. Something that gets me to think,
And some WADs can pull that off with like proper aplomb. So like I like, even though I tend to like easier stuff, like Sunlust is one of my favorite WADs of all time, precisely because the fights are difficult, but they're all fair. Like, if you know the patterns of the enemies and you're willing to take the time to like understand the layouts, they're really, really satisfying to complete. Like, Ribix is just a master of like making tough but satisfying combat design. And on top of that, the WAD is just so atmospheric, and it's so like ethereal and mysterious too. There's like so much suggestion of like what the structures you're exploring are supposed to be without outright telling you what they're supposed to be. I love that. It's just so sexy and cool. I like Rubix's other stuff too, like Stardate 20 XC6 and 7 is great, but I don't know, like Sunless just has that special sauce, it's like it's really, 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 really good.
It just work.
Todd
Howard.
Wait, what? I don't understand that.
I just said it just works.
Oh, is that something you said?
Yeah, like the Bethesda thing. So.
Right. Yeah. No, it's. I know it's kind of memed as being one of the greatest WADs of all time, but it really is, at least to me. I love it so much.
I think especially with like strategy WADs, I don't really count like depending on the type. I'd say Slaughter can be really like brain like itching in a way, or like, oh, I have to think about this, and then other times just like it's even more repetitive Doom, in where it's like, oh, all you have to do is turn your brain off and not die.
Well,
like,
that can be.
It's really weird. It can be some of the like most riveting, like brain mattering, challenging Doom content. Then other times, just like this is just a horde of like 1,000 monsters, and all you have is the BFG, and then it gets boring,
Well, I think a smart and talented mapper can make repetitive combat like explorative and meditative. So like Nirvana just released a video, gosh, yesterday actually, about a WAD that he loves called Eden, which is kind of explores that concept. It's a great big slaughter WAD, but it's very exploration heavy, and there's a whole bunch of enemies. There's, I think, over 1,000 for sure, but you explore like this big open space, and you can take the fights on like in any order you want to, and you can kind of like approach them in any order you want to, and it's I don't know, it's just very open-ended, while still being, having a high difficulty level, but not so high as to be alienating, like Sunlust or Sunder or stuff like that. So that's really cool, and that's the kind of thing where the combat could get like boring and meditative depending upon who you ask. But I don't know, if you have the right map and you have the right MIDI and you have a mapper who knows what they're doing, that can actually be really, really fun. Back when Abandon got back when Abandon got its full release earlier this year, that's another WAD I never completed, but I really enjoyed just kind of like running all the way through a map and kind of like slowly tackling the fights, and optimizing strategies. And there is something about a lot of the maps in that set where they're difficult, and there are thousands of enemies in every map, or almost every map. But you take the time and you soak in the environments and the music, and it really does kind of transport you. It's a special experience. It takes a skilled mapper to pull that off properly, but when you get it, it's special. It's cool.
Hell yeah.
Talking a lot. Sorry about that. I love this.
We've had this community for like 30 years, so there's bound to be some success. So.
Oh, for sure. That's one of the coolest things, honestly, about Doom is the tools to create it are so easy to use, and
easy to learn, hard to master in a way.
Well, and the system requirements to build maps and to play maps and to modify maps are so like low system costs. Like, you don't need a lot of RAM or memory to do it, and also like they're free, which is really nice. And it's a game that's been around for over 30 years at this point. And so people have had 3 decades to, number one, get good at Doom, but also to get good at mapping. So there's like, I can confidently say like, there are Doom WODs that are in my top 10 list that, to me at least, are more fun than like any AAA first-person shooter, or even most indie shooters, just because it's unfettered creativity, and nothing can beat that, in my opinion. From a gameplay perspective, I'd much rather have something like this, which is rough-hewn for sure, but creative and fun and energetic, than something that's like ultra polished but has very few new ideas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's like it feels like in a way we're in a dark age of like AAA gaming, where like, nothing that's coming out really impresses. Like even with like games that like Tears of the Kingdom, for example, and like Spider-Man 2, both games which I really like and play. They were good, but they were more or less like, gameplay-wise, they definitely innovated, but they felt very samey to a lot of the audience. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't innovative. And then the other stuff that's coming out, it's like there's a lack of, life to it anymore. Just a lot of it feels like a product that I'm being sold to, which it is, more than like, oh, here's this cool game, that happens to cost money.
Well, and I would very much agree with you about the AAA scene, but there is so much awesome, innovative stuff going on in the indie scene, let me tell you. Like
Deltarune, I think.
Deltarune, Undertale, I mean, those are both older examples now, but like, I was just telling you about a game that I've been playing recently called Chants of Sonar, which is so creative and so cool, and just something that, I haven't seen an idea like that before, and it's fleshed out and really interesting. And yeah, there are problems like there would be with any game, but it's still fresh and fun. You can feel like the excitement and the creativity in the developers and the polish they try to put.
You can feel the passion in it.
Exactly. And like we were talking about Cultic, that's another game which feels like Blood, but in some ways kind of better, honestly.
It feels like its own thing while still riffing on the Blood scene.
Exactly. And it's just like, yeah, I think the AAA scene is kind of a dearth of creativity at this point in time, but
most things run by corporations are like movies and stuff like that. Like, I'm a huge Marvel fan, but I've pretty much been done with the MCU for like about like a year and a half now. Like, I'm sick of their content. I don't want, when I want Marvel, I don't go to that anymore.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. I've been done with the MCU since Endgame, honestly.
Yeah, it felt like they were just continuing off the story, even if it was just spin-offs of just like new stuff. That would have been fine, but we have to have another story latched onto that.
it just it feels like they don't have their ear to their audience anymore. Like it feels like a lot of the stuff they're
Like
creating.
the diehard comic fan, it's like you have like the diehard comic fans who are either being disillusioned or are sticking it out, and then you have the casual audience, their main audience, who are just kind of fading. Because the diehard people will stay, a percentage of them anyway, will stay basically no matter what.
Oh, sure.
But it's the casual people that the MCU was made for in the first place that are dropping off, you know.
Well, and that's the thing,
really
like...
seen, my family, we usually go to, like, some new movies that just kind of stopped. Because, like, there's nothing really new or exciting going on.
Yeah, that's...
It feels less of, like, an event like it used to be. Like, oh, we're going to
my God.
movies. Like, oh,
dude,
another thing came out. Great, you know?
You're speaking my language. Like, I remember... That was the thing with Marvel movies, is, like... For, like, a good solid decade, I would say, you could rely on Marvel movies being maybe not great, but consistently...
But at least competent.
Yeah, consistently good. And, like, going to them was kind of an event. Like, because it was something that everyone did. And it was, like, a cultural, like, unification. Like, you could be pretty confident that, like, you know, when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, or even Age of Ultron, which was, like, a not so great but okay Avengers movie, or Thor Ragnarok, like, you could be pretty confident that most people you knew would go and see it, and you could get a group of friends together, and it would be, like, big and dumb and stupid, and it'd still be a corporate product, but it'd be a really fun corporate product with personality and art, and it was kind of like a cultural thing, because, like, most people you could be confident went and see it, and you could talk about it with people, and it was like, now...
Look how cool War Machine did when he said, boom, you're looking for this? Or, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And nowadays...
I actually liked the MCU humor style in a way before Endgame. Because it was still, well, that just happened, but it felt like, weirdly, like, so bad it's good. Like,
yeah,
I enjoyed lowbrow humor.
It felt self-aware of how bad it was in many cases. So it was like... It was tongue-in-cheek, but it was very aware that it was tongue-in-cheek, and it didn't play itself up as being, like, great humor. It's like, yeah, the corporate guys need this. Deal with it with us, and we're like, yeah, okay. And it wrapped around to being kind of funny.
I remember, like, Iron Man 2, I know that has its problems, but I feel like that sort of exemplifies what we kind of like about the MCU. Like, I love that movie. You know, it definitely has its problems, especially with its plot, but, like, it was so goofy and fun on occasions. Like, sorry, pal, Iron Man doesn't need a sidekick. Sidekick this! Or, like, you had the R&B music playing in the background. That was fun.
Yeah, no,
or, like,
I
character dressed in hammer.
I know a lot of people who really dislike it. And I don't get it. I think it's cool. I think a lot of comic book people really didn't care for the way they treated the villain, which I couldn't care less. It was fun just to see that actor. I'm forgetting his name, but I know he played Gandhi way back in the day. It was fun just to see that actor being goofy on set. So I can't.
It's kind of funny because we both like the MCU, but in the same way we both got disillusioned, but. You're definitely casual, whereas I'm a lot more diehard with.
You're hardcore, yeah.
Marvel. Yeah, Marvel was basically the first franchise I ever got into. Period. And even with my disillusionment, I still love it deeply, and I don't think I'll ever really let it go.
Oh, sure.
Like now, like when I need my fix in a sense.
I mean,
I just started rewatching Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I'm just like, oh fuck, the show's so good. Why did I forget about it? You know.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way with Star Trek The Next Generation, which was actually a show that was well before my time. Like, the last episode of that show aired, like, the year I was born, but I really don't like modern Star Trek, but I just love TNG so much, and every time I go back, I'm like, oh, this is, like, the best television ever made. Sorry, I've got to do another...
And then you're just like, what? And then you're just kind of like, I mean, this is kind of me with Earth Mighty Heroes, but like, I watched this so much as a kid, why did I forget about this? It's so awesome, you know?
I know how you mean. That's how I feel whenever I play this WAD. I'm like, fuck, this WAD's great. Though speaking of which, it is actually getting late. I should probably get to bed. So, shall we pick this up some other time, my good sir?
Yes, we shall go back to Ray Mohawk, maybe in the dead of winter, maybe back in the summer when it's all hot and I need that air conditioning because it's 90 degrees outside.
Yeah, that was part of the reason I wanted to play this, is because where I am in Washington, um, we've been getting like a ton of snow, and it's been like -1 at night. It's warming up now, but it's been like really, 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 really cold.
It's weird with Colorado where I'm at, because it's either like extremely like cold or way too hot, and there's like no in between except for like spring and fall.
I think it's gonna be kind of that way for me too. Like the winters here where I am are really tough, but I also came out here in the summer and it was like really, really hot all the time. So I'm very
I prefer
happy.
the cold over the heat, because I do not like anything past like 75 degrees. I can't handle.
For me, if it's dry, like if the humidity is below 30%, I can handle up to like 85 and be okay. It's got to be like 70 if I'm gonna sleep, but during the day I can be okay with 85.
But once it starts like getting like, oh god, I can feel the sweat on me and it's getting sticky and it's like, oh god, it's kind of torturous.
Gotta get that sticky icky icky. Yeah, no, for real. Anyway,
Sweat is an oxymoron. That's
so
the lesson here.
yeah, so it's really cold out for both of us. I wanted to play something that was warm and happy, and there's nothing warmer and happier, at least in the New World, than this WAD. So,
Good
yeah.
old Ray Mohawk.
We're not dead. We're just busy and inconsistent. So, anyway, we hope to see
Don't
you
worry,
guys.
we'll come back in 2 years like Donto.
we're your approximately monthly YouTubers. So, yeah, you guys take it easy. Stay warm out there. Stay hydrated. Remember to eat. And we'll see you guys later. Take it easy.
Ciao.